You've probably heard stories of buyers and sellers backing out of sales or canceling listings at the last minute. The big question is why? Based on Redfin's end of 2025 data, these cancellations are the highest since they've been since before the pandemic. And this is across the country, and both buyers and sellers are feeling it. So today, let's unpack the reasons why these cancellations are happening at such a high rate. Deal cancellations are new, but what was seen at the end of 2025 raised eyebrows. According to real estate economist Daryl Fairweather, we hit a record high for that end of 2025 period, and it comes down to one thing. Buyers and sellers are not seeing eye to eye. So let's break down the four main reasons why contracts fall apart. Key point number one is the motivation gap. Buyers are frustrated because homes just aren't affordable. And sellers are frustrated because they're looking for the high prices that people got during the pandemic. So even though some sellers have adjusted their home prices a bit, mortgage rates are still in the 6% range, right? Homeowners insurance is still really high, and that makes mortgage payments feel heavy. And at the same time, many sellers don't want to budge because they're sitting on a 3% interest rate, and they may be a buyer as well quite often. So they're selling one house, they want a certain net from that sale to put down on the next house since they're paying a higher rate too. So that tension shows up in those rising cancellation rates. It's why even a small roadblock like an inspection negotiation or a delayed sale can just put the kibosh on a listing, put the kibosh on a sale. So if you're buying, get pre-approved, get your rate locked, know your expenses on the front end, like the cost of homeowners insurance. If you have flood insurance, what's that cost? And know what your expenses are and keep up to date on those. And if you're a seller, stay open to adjusting your price or maybe offering some type of closing cost incentive as a repair allowance or just to keep serious buyers at the table. Sometimes it's that little give and take that can keep a sale together, and then each party gets the win because you're moving on to the next point in your life. You're moving on, closing one chapter and starting that one that you've been looking forward to with the sale or the purchase of a home. For most of 2021 and 2022, sellers called the shots, but that has changed. The sale to list price ratio, which shows how close homes are selling to the list price, has been dropping. That means more homes are selling below their list price, and that means buyers have more leverage. Without bidding wars or backup offers, sellers just can't hold out for those premium prices anymore. That shift gives serious buyers more leverage. They can negotiate, but it also means deals can often take longer to close just to get the offer on your home. So if you're a buyer, and if you saw our last video that we did, there's a 60% chance that home has been sitting on the market longer than 30 days that you're interested in. So make a thoughtful offer. In that situation, you can ask for concessions or repair allowances or closing costs, things along those lines. Keep in mind, however, that if it does check all the boxes, you're going to have to make a stronger offer sooner than later, right? And if you're a seller and the home's not selling within the first, say, 3 to 4 weeks, then consider a small price adjustment sooner than later. Time on market erodes value. Time on market, in the end, is your enemy. Key point number 3, seasonality and consumer behavior. Fall and winter months, typically there's a slowdown in the market. And between holidays and back to school routines, and then around here, like frigid temperatures, or in 2025, we had Snowmageddon, that shuts things down in the real estate market for days or even weeks. So fewer people are simply focused on buying and selling. And even though mortgage rates have decreased, there's not this rushing of buyers into the market. What happens with mortgage rates, they don't go from, as I've said before, 7% to 6%. It's more like 7% to 6.8. Now we're down to low sixes, maybe a little bit higher, maybe a little bit lower, depending on the day and the week, simply because mortgage rates literally change every day. So the general decrease has been down, but there's no one price that suddenly everybody leaves the sidelines as a buyer and is ready to buy. It's more like a trickle effect. The lower the rates go, a few more buyers enter the market. Now, some of those buyers, as I mentioned earlier, are also sellers. So the more homes that come on the market, maybe because they want to do a contingent sale or something like that, means there's more competition for sellers, all right? And that means there's more homes on the market. If buyers are still on the sidelines, that can force prices down. Now that downward pressure in pricing is good for the market for long-term balance, but it's not good news if you're a seller looking for a quick sale in the next 30 or 90 days. Key point number 4, regional divide. Not all markets are equal. Not all areas of the country are equal. Real estate is a hyper-local event, okay? So what happens for our area, what happens in New Orleans is different than what happens in St. Tammany Parish, and it's different than happens in Baton Rouge. And even in certain communities, like what happens in one subdivision may be different, or one price point, say in Covington, is different than at a different price point in Covington, or a different price point in Mandeville. Just a couple of examples there. Nationally speaking, in the Midwest, job growth is good. Home prices are relatively affordable, so that has helped the market be robust over there. Florida and Texas, they had so many people moving in, home prices were going up, things were being scooped up, and at the same time, there's been so much construction that now those markets are cooling off and almost have an oversupply, low demand, oversupply of homes. So, for our beautiful state of Louisiana, what is the number one parish for percentage growth in sales and price in Louisiana? Which parish? Take a guess. It's Richland Parish. Now you get the bonus prize if you know exactly where Richland Parish is on a map without having to dig for it. Okay, why Richland Parish? That's where Meta, aka Facebook, is building their massive, I think their largest data center ever. But that's bringing construction jobs, that's bringing jobs, high-end jobs to that community. So that's why real estate is being eaten up, and they're going to need services and homes for the employees. So when you hear of things like people want to, so-and-so wants to put a data center or a warehouse center in a community, that's not a bad thing. That brings jobs, that brings growth to the real estate market. So whether you're buying or selling, follow your local zip code, not the national headlines. That's the best strategy no matter whether you're buying or selling. In summary, the 4 reasons are buyer-seller disconnect, more price cuts, seasonality, and then regional divide. What's happening right now isn't a housing crash, it's a market reset. Deals are falling through not because the market is broken, but because it's rebalancing after years of runaway demand and unrealistic expectations. So buyers now have more say, sellers are adjusting, and both sides are learning to navigate a new normal. That's a healthy shift, even if it's frustrating. Now, if you'd like to talk about your options, we are here. Schedule a free, no obligation, hassle-free one-on-one with us, and we'll help you build a plan for your real estate goals, whether you're buying, selling, or investing. And if you find this video helpful, please feel free. Like the video, subscribe it, share it. Really do appreciate it. So thank you for tuning in. Until next time, bye-bye.